Okay, I need to tell you something, and I already know you are going to have thoughts about it. I checked my partner's phone last night.
Oaks, tell me what happened.
So they had not texted me back for like 6 hours, and I know that sounds like nothing, but my brain just spiraled. I made up this whole story that they were losing interest, that they were probably talking to someone else, that I did something wrong at dinner the night before, and I could not stop it. So I picked up their phone while they were in the shower and I went through their messages.
And what did you find?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. They had been in meetings all day. The text they finally sent was totally normal. Like, hey, sorry, busy day. Thinking of you. And I had already spent the entire evening in a full panic. This happens every single time, and I hate it. I hate that I am like this.
Can I tell you something? You are not crazy, and you are not a controlling person. What you just described has a name in psychology. Researchers call it the protest behavior cycle. It is one of the most well-documented patterns in attachment science. Your nervous system sensed distance, it panicked, and it did everything it could to get closeness back, checking the phone, texting again, picking a fight just to get a reaction. Those are called protest behaviors, and the cruel part is, they almost always push your partner further away, which triggers even more panic, even more protest. It is a self-reinforcing loop.
Wait, there is a name for this? The protest behavior cycle. So I am not just being insane. This is an actual documented thing.
It is an actual documented thing, and it goes all the way back to some of the earliest research in attachment science. Your alarm system went off, and when that alarm goes off, it is incredibly hard to think clearly. But here is what I want you to understand. The alarm is not a character flaw. It is a nervous system that was calibrated in childhood to detect relationship threats at an extremely low threshold. A delayed text, a distracted partner, a slight change in tone, these register as danger signals in your brain.
So I am literally trapped in a loop. I sense distance, I panic, I do something desperate, and that pushes them further away every single time.
Every single time, and this pattern is not new. It goes all the way back to some of the earliest research in attachment science in the 1950s. A British psychiatrist named John Bowlby spent years observing children in hospitals. This was a time when parents were not allowed to stay with their kids during hospital visits. They would drop the child off and leave, and Bowlby watched what happened to those children when their primary attachment figure, usually their mother, disappeared.
That sounds awful.
It was, and what he observed was a very specific sequence. First came protest. The children would cry, scream, bang on doors, desperately search for their mother. They were loud, they were frantic. Everything in their little bodies was saying, "Bring her back, bring her back, bring her back." But if the mother did not come back, the protest eventually gave way to a second phase. Despair. The children went quiet. They stopped searching. They withdrew. They looked sad and defeated. And then, if the separation continued even longer, a third phase. Detachment. The children appeared fine. They stopped crying. They played with toys. They seemed okay. But when their mother finally returned, they did not go to her. They turned away. Bowlby called this sequence protest, despair, detachment, and he published it in his landmark work, Attachment and Loss, in 1973.
Wait. Protest, despair, detachment. That is exactly what I do. I blow up their phone, that is protest. Then I get sad and withdraw, and convince myself I do not care. That is despair. And then I act cold and distant when they finally reach out. That is detachment. I am literally running the same program as those kids in the hospital.
You are running a program that was written when you were very small, and here is what makes anxious attachment different from the other styles. Your system gets stuck in that first phase protest, most of the time. You do not make it to despair and detachment. You stay in protest mode because your nervous system is convinced that if you just try hard enough, if you text one more time, if you bring up the issue one more time, you can get the closeness back.
Oh no, that is so accurate, it is uncomfortable.
Well, let me make it a little more uncomfortable because I want to name the specific protest behavior so you can recognize them in real time. Amir, Levine, and Rachel Heller cataloged these in their book, Attached. Published in 2010, they identified a list of predictable behaviors that anxiously attached people use when their system is activated.
Okay, hit me.
Excessive calling or texting, keeping score of who texted first, or who said I love you last. Acting hostile, or withdrawing affection to punish your partner for not being available. Threatening to leave. Not because you want to leave, but to test whether they will chase you. Making your partner jealous on purpose and monitoring their activity, checking their phone, their social media, their location.
Oh no, I have done like 4 of those this month. Maybe 5.
Welcome to the club, and I mean that genuinely. These are not character flaws. Levine and Heller are very clear about this. These are automatic nervous system responses to perceived threat. You are not choosing to do these things any more than you choose to flinch when someone throws a ball at your face. The key word there is perceived, because Mikulincer and Shaver documented this in their 2007 book Attachment in Adulthood. They found that anxiously attached individuals have a lower threshold for detecting relationship threats. You see danger signals where a securely attached person would see a neutral event.
So when my partner does not text back for 6 hours, a secure person would just think, oh, they are probably busy, but my brain goes straight to, they are leaving me.
Exactly. And this is one of the most important things to understand about anxious attachment. The 6 hours of silence was neutral. It was just a fact. Your partner was in meetings, but your mind constructed a story around that fact. They are losing interest. They found someone better. I did something wrong, and it was the story that activated your alarm system, not the event itself. That is why I always say the story is the trigger, not the event.
Say that again.
The story is the trigger, not the event. Anxious attachment does not react to reality. It reacts to the narrative your mind constructs about reality, and that narrative is almost always worse than what is actually happening.
That is wild. Because in the moment it feels so real, like the story is reality.
It does, and there is a biological reason for that. Mikulincer and Shaver's research also showed that anxiously attached individuals have heightened amygdala activation in response to relationship cues. The amygdala is your brain's threat detection center, and in anxiously attached people, it fires faster and stronger than in securely attached people. The fear you feel is not just psychological. It is neurological. Your brain is literally wired to overreact to perceived abandonment. And just to be clear, we are talking about the science of how attachment works, not diagnosing anyone. This is education, not therapy. If anxious attachment is significantly impacting your daily life or relationships, working with a therapist who understands attachment theory can be genuinely life-changing.
Right, but honestly, just knowing that my amygdala is doing this and not just me being crazy already helps.
That is actually a really important point, because awareness is the thing that breaks the cycle. Let me walk you through exactly how the protest behavior cycle works so you can see it clearly. Step 1. Something happens. Your partner does not text back. They seem distracted. They cancel plans. Step 2. Your nervous system interprets this as a threat. Your amygdala fires. You feel a rush of anxiety. Step 3. Your system triggers protest behaviors. You text again. You check their phone. You pick a fight. You do something, anything, to get a response and reestablish closeness. Step 4. Your partner feels smothered, pressured, or attacked, so they pull back. They need space. They get quiet. And step 5. You sense that distance, and your alarm system fires again, even louder this time. So you protest harder, and the cycle repeats. Each loop makes it worse.
So I am literally creating the thing I am most afraid of. I am so scared of being abandoned that I do things that push people away, and then when they pull away, I take it as proof that I was right to be scared.
That is the cruelest part of anxious attachment. The protest behavior cycle is self-fulfilling, but here is why I actually find that hopeful. Because if you are creating it, you can stop creating it. The cycle is not something that is happening to you. It is something your nervous system is doing, and once you can see it, once you can name it in real time, you can interrupt it. You cannot stop the alarm from firing. That is neurological, but you can change what you do after it fires.
Quick pause. If you just recognized yourself in any of those protest behaviors, hit that like button. It really helps more people find this, and subscribe if you have not already. Tell us in the comments, which protest behavior did you recognize in yourself? We read every single one. Okay, back to the science. Okay, so I have a question. You said I cannot stop the alarm from firing, so what am I supposed to do? Just sit there in a panic and not act on it? Because that sounds impossible.
It is not about suppressing the feeling. That would just be avoidant attachment, and that has its own problems. It is about creating a gap between the trigger and your response. Right now, the gap is zero. Something happens. Your alarm fires. You react. There is no space in between. So I want you to try something. I call it the 20-minute rule.
The 20-minute rule. Okay, I am listening.
The next time you feel your attachment alarm activate, the urge to text again, the urge to check their phone, the urge to pick a fight just to get a reaction, set a timer for 20 minutes, and during those 20 minutes, you do not act on the urge.
20 minutes, that is going to feel like 20 years when I am in the middle of a spiral.
It will. But here is what you do during those 20 minutes. You write down 3 things. Number 1, what just happened? That is the trigger. Just the facts. They did not text back for 6 hours. That is it. Number 2, what story am I telling myself? That is the narrative. They are losing interest. They found someone better. I did something wrong. Write it all down. And, number 3, what do I actually know for certain? That is the facts. They were at work. They have been busy before. They told me they care about me yesterday.
Oh, so you are separating the story from the event in real time.
Exactly. And here is what usually happens by the time the 20 minutes are up. The acute activation has passed. Your amygdala has calmed down, and you can respond from choice instead of reflex. You might still decide to text them, but it will be a text that says, "Hey, I missed you today," instead of a text that says, "Why are you ignoring me?"
That is a very different text.
A completely different text. One comes from your attachment alarm, the other comes from you. And the more you practice this, the more your nervous system learns that the alarm does not have to run the show. You feel it, you name it, you pause, and you choose. That is the whole framework. Name it, pause, choose.
Name it, pause, choose. Okay, I can remember that.
And I want to add one more thing. This is not about becoming a different person. You are always going to be someone who feels deeply in relationships. That is not a flaw. Anxious attachment means you are wired for connection. The sensitivity that makes you spiral is the same sensitivity that makes you an incredibly caring, attentive partner. The goal is not to stop feeling, it is to stop letting the feeling drive the car.
Okay, that actually made me tear up a little, because I have spent so long thinking I am too much, too needy, too intense. And you are saying the intensity is not the problem. It is just that the intensity needs a better driver.
That is exactly right. The intensity is the engine. You just need to learn to steer it.
Okay, my brain is buzzing. Let me try to land all of this before it flies away. Number 1. Anxious attachment is a hyperactivated alarm system, not a character flaw. Your nervous system was calibrated in childhood to detect relationship threats at a very low threshold. Mikulincer and Shaver's research shows this is neurological. Your amygdala literally fires faster than a securely attached person's. Number 2. Protest behaviors are automatic responses to perceived threat. Excessive texting, keeping score, picking fights, threatening to leave. These are not choices you are making. They are your nervous system's attempt to re-establish closeness. Levine and Heller cataloged these as predictable, pattern-based responses. Number 3. The protest behavior cycle is self-fulfilling. You sense distance, you protest. Your partner pulls back. You sense more distance. The cycle creates the abandonment you fear most. Breaking the cycle requires interrupting the automatic response. And number 4. Separate the story from the event. The trigger is rarely the real problem. The narrative your mind constructs about the trigger is the 20-minute rule helps you distinguish between what happened and what you are telling yourself happened.
That was perfect, and I just want to leave everyone with this the next time your alarm goes off, and it will go off. Try to catch yourself before you react. Name what is happening. My attachment system is activated. This is a protest behavior. The story I am telling myself is not the same as what is actually happening. That moment of naming is where the cycle breaks. That is where change lives.
I am literally going to set a 20-minute timer tonight, and I am going to write down the 3 questions, because I know the alarm is going to go off again, but now I know what it is, and that already changes everything.
That is all it takes to start. One pause, one moment of awareness. The rest follows from there.
If this episode helped you understand why you spiral, do 3 things for us. Hit the like button so more people can find this. Subscribe so you do not miss the next deep dive, and leave a comment telling us, what is the protest behavior you are going to catch first? We read every single one, and we will see you in the next episode.
The human code. The science of why you do what you do.